welcome to Sound Off with System 1. Today we'll be talking about follow-up questions to ask during an interview. This episode is more of a follow-up from a previous discussion that we've had with our panel of experts. It did very well, and we kind of wanted to dive deeper into that subject. So as you're joining, please drop your name and where you're joining from in the comments section and what industry you work in. And as you're talking a little bit about yourselves and dropping that in the comments section, let's tell you a little bit about System 1 first. System 1 is a leading provider of specialized, highly technical outsourced services and workforce solutions to critical infrastructure, technology, life sciences, and government sectors. We are a trusted and essential partner to large private and public organizations. Founded more than 40 years ago, today System 1 is a diversified organization operating in over 50 locations and putting more than 9,000 people to work in the US, Canada, and the United Kingdom. So yeah, keep dropping your names, where you're coming from, and your industry in the comments section. And our team from the marketing department will be responding to those comments. And first, before we go into our subject and hot jobs, let's introduce ourselves and a fun fact about each other. I'm Karen. I'm the content and communications manager here at System 1. Our office is based out of Tampa, but I'm coming to you from Ormond Beach, Florida, which is just north of Daytona. One fun fact about me, this literally just happened. My husband actually just walked in and he asked me if I saw the dog bowl, and I told him I didn't know she could. My supervisor's gonna kill me.
That's great. That is awesome.
Okay, that's my fun fact. How about you, Maggie? Tell us a little bit about you.
Fun fact. Let me think about that. Maggie Marroquin from Houston, Director of Accounting and Finance out at System 1. And fun fact about me, I just got back from an amazing vacation. We did an Alaskan cruise, and it was absolutely amazing. If you guys get the opportunity, do it. It's awesome. Life-changing.
I'm jealous.
Matt? Yeah.
Definitely.
All right, Matt, your turn.
Matt Ruby, Director of IT here in Tampa, Florida. Before Karen left us, she was part of our team here locally. In the industry for 15 years, with System 1 the past 3 years. And fun fact about me is, I don't know if I shared this, I have 5 kids, and we homeschool them all. So it's just one of those things that we've chosen to do. My wife was an educator, but anyway, just a fun fact about me. Never a dull moment in the Ruby house. How about that?
Yes, I cannot imagine having 5 children. I have the 2, and they're about out the house. So 5 sounds like a lot.
You need to go on that cruise that Maggie just went on. I think that's what I need to do.
Let's go on a cruise
Yes,
without the kids.
exactly.
Yeah, I'll leave them behind.
Yes.
Maggie, why don't you tell us the hot job that you have available?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks. So I'm working on a senior accountant role for a growing manufacturing company, Northwest Houston, if you guys are familiar with the area. And the team is growing. That's why the role is open. Great opportunity for somebody that's a natural leader, looking for that next step in their career. It is a hands-on role, month-end close, general ledger, journal entries, reconciliations. As the team continues to grow, they are looking for, to improve processes or help streamline processes. So somebody that's, just really great at what they do, enjoys that accounting space, and, looking to kind of be a lead eventually, that would be amazing. This could be a really good opportunity for you. Great benefits, 401k options and everything. Great tenured team as well. So good work-life balance and great reviews. So if you guys are interested, hit me up. Would love to talk to you about all those details and get you submitted to that client. For those of you outside of Houston, senior accountants and staff accountants are so hard to find these days. It's almost, a unicorn at the end of the rainbow, like one of my clients said earlier that I thought was hysterical. But it is such a hot market. So we're offering referral fees for anybody referred and placed. So send me your people.
That's excellent, Maggie. Thank you so much. And go ahead, connect with Maggie. Her contact information is being dropped in the comments section or in this live event, go ahead, connect with her. She's an top expert recruiter in the accounting field. So Matt, your turn. Why don't you let us know a little bit about your hot job?
Oh, thank you. So our opportunity is here in Clearwater, Florida. So not a bad destination, especially if you're in the cold north, eventually when you get cold in the wintertime. But this is with our top customer. It's in the insurance industry. They have just crossed the $2 billion revenue annually, and their goal for the next 2 years actually is to surpass $5 billion. So with that, with lots of mergers and acquisitions, there's a ton of data and reporting that needs to be done. So they're adding to that reporting team. This is a Tableau developer, a mid-level developer, 3 to 5 years. Tableau, of course, SSRS. And if you have Power BI, that is a huge plus, and we'll definitely get you on the phone with them from a skill set perspective. And this is actually reporting to someone that we placed, we put them in there 2 years ago, and they just got promoted into this manager role, who is now hiring. So we have great relationships internal. It's one of the top places to work in the Tampa Bay market. And it's an opportunity for basically unlimited, uncapped growth internally, just knowing how fast the company's growing over the next 2 to 5 years. So anyone that you know, love to talk to them, but they would have to be here in Florida or here in the Clearwater, Tampa Bay area, but would work remotely in that area. So a little bit limited, but yet still lots of work life balance by working at home. That's it.
That sounds like an excellent opportunity. And that's, again, this is not the only opportunity that either of our experts have. They have tons. Matt's contact information is being dropped in the comments section. And for his job, Maggie's job, or other jobs, new jobs are added every day to jobs.system1.com. So be sure to check that out as well. And again, continue please dropping your name and where you're joining us from. And if you have any questions for our expert panel. Like I said in the beginning, this is kind of like a part 2 of a previous discussion we had with these experts about questions to ask for job seekers to ask during an interview. So much time is focused on, as a job seeker, preparing to answer questions in an interview. But interviews are two-way streets. At the same time that a hiring manager is like kind of asking you questions and delving into your work experience and skills to figure out if you're the right fit for their department or company. At the same time, you're trying to figure out if this is going to be a good fit for you, the culture, and the environment. So we did say in our previous discussion, questions that maybe you should have prepared to ask during the interview when the hiring manager says, do you have any questions for me? So I'm going to throw that back to Maggie. You had some great advice last time about, and you really did have some killer questions to ask that even blew my mind. But go ahead. I'll start with you. Some more questions to ask during an interview.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Karen. So anytime you get the opportunity to get in front of a potential hiring manager, you want to take advantage of that space, of that time. Oftentimes it can be a panel, it can be one individual or multiple individuals. My favorite interviewing style is more conversational than anything else. So, just kind of read the room, see kind of how they're interacting, and then jump in where necessary. But the list could go on of great questions to kind of ask, but first round interviews, always ask as much as you can, right? Sometimes you'll get the answers to those questions as you go, but continuously try to think of additional questions, to kind of save for the end. But moving to the second round, congratulations, yay. I often feel, second round interviews, you're seriously being considered for this role. And so it might be a little bit tougher. There might be some new faces with some old faces. It may be a panel. It may be a potential peer of yours, that's at the same level, that's going to come in and be able to ask some of those more detailed, maybe transactional type questions, which I think is a nice opportunity. Take advantage of that. But some good questions that I always like to ask in that second round, if they haven't been covered in the first round, is, really get to know more from, the manager, like what is your management style, right? Because somebody that's more of a micromanager, if that doesn't work for you, then obviously you don't want to target them, but, just to get them to elaborate more on like what kind of manager are they and who do they, what their style is like. Another question too is, I always like to know, I'm big on environment and culture. And so I always like to know, hey, Joe, I see you've been here 5 years. What keeps you here? What excites you about this company? What do you like most about working here? And what are some of, those rewards or challenges look like for you? And just get kind of the inside track. I think it's a warm question to ask about, because you're kind of turning it on them to talk about, what they like about the company. And that's an opportunity as a potential, employer for them to sell the job to you. And it's a two-way street. So I think it goes well. What do you think, Matt?
Oh, yeah, Maggie, you said what got you there after maybe 3, 4, 5 years, but I also think, hey, what initially, got you that hook? What grabbed you initially to leave a great job wherever? And you probably already know, hopefully doing some homework, kind of one of those other interview tips. You already know that Mr. Interviewer went to or left whatever Price Waterhouse or JP Morgan or whatever the client was. So why did you leave there? What was that initial? I think that's important. And then even I also noticed that a lot of times initial interviews are maybe time constrained, like 30 minutes, and you might not be able to elaborate. So maybe even it's in this case situational. Maybe if you weren't able to elaborate fully, and that same person is in that second interview, you could also show that you're focused and that you're engaged by maybe answering and maybe elaborating on that question a little bit more in detail, and having it not only in front of him, but there's probably, at least in IT, most of those second round interviews are panel. There's 3 or 4 people throughout that hour or 90-minute process. So those are just 2 things that I would recommend from a standpoint. What got them there? And then also make sure we mix in I think you mentioned a little bit, was the behavioral and technical questions, right? There's a mix. And also, know as a candidate, you're interviewing them, and they know that it's a competitive market, and you want to make sure that you're going to work for people in the company that best fits your personality and your technical and professional goals.
No, that's good advice. Matt, you said something about, to your point about behavioral and technical questions. Often job seekers have so much out there to learn, they can read articles and blogs and learn the types of interview questions that they might be asked. And I'll throw it out to both of you. How would you turn around, like you would know how to answer a behavior, you learned how to answer behavioral and technical questions. How do you turn that around on the hiring manager or hiring team?
Maggie, do you want to go first?
Sure. So, I mean, I think that's only fair, right? If the client asks you, or a potential employer asks you a question, I think it's only fair to see how they would respond as well too. So, just in your response, kind of maneuver around that to a way, one of the things that you could ask is, how do you measure responsibilities and workload, and gauge that against performance, things like that. And that's going to tell you, like, this is our structure. This is what we look at. This is most important for this role. And this is how that's kind of managed. And then, you can also ask the question, the question everybody tends to ask is, how do you measure success, or what do you feel are going to be some of my challenges within the first 6 to 12 months stepping into this role? Mm-hmm. And you can ask those types of questions, and then they're going to be able to respond like, well, right now we're going through a system implementation, and so support staff is pulled from this to this, and you're going to be juggling a lot of these different things. And so clearly that's something they're dealing with now, and then you can take advantage of that opportunity and expand on that and say, how are you guys dealing with that now? You have somebody full-time with a system implementation is the work behind now, and just good follow-up kind of questions. Questions in general, my favorite questions are kind of open-ended questions, right? Not like yes or no. It's very, very engaging, very open-ended. That's going to make them talk and give you an answer instead of just a yes or no.
Yes. Unlike teenagers, when you ask a question, they just say yes. Like, no, yes.
Right.
Where are you with your homework? Not yes or no. No, those are great. And we were all discussing earlier, we had a really great conversation, the three of us, with others this morning about what happens if you don't have any follow-up questions, because it's great with your initial interview. You have these questions prepared to ask when people ask you, do you have any further questions? But second, third, fourth round of interviews, you still have to kind of keep those questions in your back pocket, because a lot of times hiring managers might not respect too much with, oh, no, I've got it all. I have no more questions. They kind of want to hear that you've done your research and you're continuing to do research and that you're continuing to keep that line of communication open. So again, it's a two-way street, right?
Yeah, absolutely, Karen. And also, I just saw the comment from Woody. He was part of the broadcast. I know we responded, but I think it's also cool to kind of, obviously you're nervous in an interview, to throw it back. I think that's what he's saying. Hey, it keeps me on my toes as an interviewer. To see how they react when they're kind of put on the spot. All right, it's a tense situation, or it's nervous at least. And I also think those questions, if you're going through 3 and 4 rounds, where hopefully working with System 1, we won't have that many rounds, right? We can get you kind of 1 or 2 rounds. That's part of the advantage of working for us. But if you do have to meet with 3 and 4 people, it's okay to ask the same question, because everyone will have a different, I would say, flavor or a different answer of why they're there, or what drew them there initially, and why they're still there, maybe retention wise. And then all that goes into your decision criteria, along with financial and work-life balance. All of those things go into that decision-making criteria. So
exactly. Well, this was actually wonderful advice. I mean, I love this. Last time we talked about, Sound Off at System 1 had you guys talking about interview questions. I actually went and I wrote an article about it. So if you want some job seeker tips, you can go to system1services.com, the news and insight page. And there we list a variety of great questions for you to ask during your interview. But I'm here. I learn just as much as everyone else learns when I've got my expert recruiters on, because it's like I learned so much, and I'm able to then, continue to disseminate this great information. So as always, we have new jobs every day at jobs.system1.com. If you are looking and you're in the IT industry, please connect with Matt on LinkedIn. If you're in the accounting industry, we're gonna go ahead and connect with Maggie. Both of them are great people to connect with. And if you're actually a hiring manager looking for help, system1services.com. Come see us, and we can talk to you about our outsourced services and workforce solutions. So thank you very much. That should conclude today's broadcast. Please go ahead and mark this on your calendars. We are here every Thursday at 2 p.m. for Sound Off at System 1. And we constantly give you job seeker tips, industry trends, and expert advice. So thank you. See you again next Thursday.